So, why is it that focusing on your highest desire is powerful and brings you into heart brain coherence? Well, you know by now, with listening to multiple podcasts of mine, that when you are clearly focused on that which you want and not chaotic and not feeling frustrated and angry or negative beliefs that cause chaos within you, when you're clearly focused calmly and quietly on that which you want, your energy waves, your emotional energy waves get in sync. Now, there is a heart brain coherence, which is your energy waves from your heart, from your calm, quiet knowing within you, because your heart is an organ and it produces emotion molecules that have those waves of energy. So your heart communicates actually and creates those emotion molecules faster than your brain registers all of the negative thoughts and negative beliefs and worries and concerns. So you can just immediately jump to creating what it is that you want for your highest desire, so that those energy waves can get in sync with one another. And when they get in sync with one another, they communicate to the brain. So then you have heart-brain coherence. And that is a beautiful feeling when you are totally in sync with yourself. Your heart and your brain are operating in sync. That's your inner wisdom. You are in touch then with the inner wisdom, and that energy also leaves your body and connects up outside of you. So for now, though, know that your heart-brain coherence, which is those energy waves in sync and communicating between your heart and your brain, are very powerful. If you want a tool to be able to really help yourself with this, you can go to the HeartMath Institute website, and they have a tool called Inner Balance. And that measures your waves, the energy waves, syncing up between your heart and your brain. There's a tool that you can, an app you have on your phone, and it has a little thing that clips to your ear, and it measures that heart-brain coherence. And you can see whether your energy waves are calm and smooth and even, and if they're getting synced up together. So you can use that tool to really help you along with this. So let's go back to this notion of your highest desire, because your highest desire will automatically get those energy waves to be smooth and even and powerful and syncing together. So for me, I have two highest desires that are almost always true for me. And I encourage you to identify two that are almost always true for you, because you can use those in any moment when things are tough and challenging. And maybe you're like, wow, I don't know what I want here. This is just like not at all what I expected. So those challenging moments, you can hyper-focus on your highest desire to get through those challenging moments. So my two that are almost always true for me, and this first one will be no surprise, which is understanding. I desire to understand. I want to understand how things work. So hence that was my science of how does all this energy work. I like to understand. I want to understand other people. I want to understand, well, what's happening in the situation or with someone else that is bringing about whatever has happened. I want to understand myself, my own reactions. Why am I having a reaction the way I'm having? So for me, understanding is a high desire. When I am in that space, I can use that to connect more easily with others, to connect more easily with myself and what it is I'm really wanting, to understand the situation and help bring about what is my second best desire. My second desire that is almost always present for me is wanting the highest, best good and happiness for myself and for others. So ultimately, I want a happy, good outcome for both, for others and for myself. So in stressful, tough moments, I can always rely on just saying, okay, what's my highest desire in this moment? So let's go back to my friend who lost her job, and I already explained that she tapped into her highest desire of wanting her good highest outcome. And she gave herself permission to set aside the negative beliefs that she could have just, let run through her body and bring her down. She gave herself permission to say, I know they're there and I am going to attend to them. I'm just not going to attend to them now. right now, I'm going to be honest with myself and say I feel sad and I feel disappointed. And I'm going to tap into my highest desire. My highest desire, which is to affirm, in the end, things are going to come through in a way that really is going to bring me what I want, the goodness and the happiness that I want in this job that didn't come through as I'd planned. Another one that is going to fill me with goodness and happiness is going to be there for me. So she was able to just, let go of the old beliefs in that moment and allow herself to tap into that in that moment. Now, I have some family members that tap into a trigger of mine. I'm very sensitive to blame. So in my family growing up, blame meant you were kind of cut off from the family. So when I got blamed in my family growing up, my mother wouldn't talk to me for sometimes a couple of weeks because I had done something she thought was terrible. And so I internalized this belief that I'm a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad person. And I felt awful. And I was fearful of being cut off from help and from my mother's love. And so blame was a big deal for me. Well, blame has been kind of a big deal in my family. And so often communications come from my siblings or in-laws that, the family is making some decisions or having communications about something, which family members do. And so maybe a sibling will come in and say, well, you're just being, you aren't being inconsiderate, or you're being, not thoughtful to even propose what you're proposing, Melanie. And so that feels like blame to me. And I'm very sensitive to it. So my highest desire is understanding. So I then choose to say, okay, in that moment, I almost always know I want understanding. So I've given myself permission to just say, okay, rather than react defensively, which my trigger puts me to reacting defensively, is to just say, I seek understanding. So I'm going to ask a question, and that buys me time to calm my system down, and it meets my highest desire, which is to seek understanding. So by asking questions, I gain better understanding of the other person, and I can better own my part, because probably I had a part in whatever the blame situation was, but I can do it from a place of higher good rather than reaction mode. Now, let's just take a third example. Let's say you're at work and you have a boss that doesn't seem to get you, doesn't seem to understand, and seems to make demands on you that don't fit, for example, with your world. So your boss just seems clueless about your world. And every time your boss makes a demand of you of wanting more time from your schedule and your attention to do different jobs and just heaps on a new job, and you say, oh my gosh. And so you are flared up with many reactions to that. And that boss is clueless, you think, and that why they should understand me, they should pay attention, they should know I have a life and I have kids and I need to get out of here. And that, your boss maybe doesn't have all of that going on and isn't paying any attention. And so you have lots of beliefs about your boss coming to you and asking you to get something accomplished in pretty short order. Now, that's a lot of reaction. So you can rely on your highest desires. So your highest desires are for your own goodness. I imagine everybody can relate to that highest desire, for your own good outcome and your own happiness. Now, if you also happen to have, like I do, a need for understanding, a desire for understanding, you could use both of those highest desires. And just know in that moment, you don't have to react with all of the negative beliefs or the reactions or the strong emotions that you have. You can give yourself permission to attend to those later. Don't pretend they don't exist, but just say, I'm going to give myself time to attend to those later. And in this moment, when your boss has asked for something and you have these reactions happening within you, tune into what is your highest desire, which is your own good outcome, and you probably also want a good outcome for your boss. So maybe you just calm down for a minute to get reflective about that desire, just to get in touch with that desire. And then maybe you'll ask for a conversation with your boss and ask, how can we prioritize this? Because I'm sensing that this is urgent or really important. Can you help me understand how this timing of me getting this task done, where it should fit in the priority of the other things that I'm to do? Now, your boss will probably appreciate that question because your boss can say, that's more important than this other thing I'm asking you to do. And it's more important than this other thing that I'm asking you to do. And that opens up a conversation where you can say, okay, great. If I focus on that and I focus on that tomorrow and the next day, then I can accomplish these other things later in the week. And you have a problem solving conversation by focusing on your highest desire for happiness and a good outcome, and your boss's highest desire for happiness and a good outcome. So you can always hyper focus on your highest desire to bring about a good conclusion during any challenging time, to see you through it until you have more quiet time where you can access your inner wisdom at a deeper level. So just allow yourself to hyper focus on your highest desire during any challenging time, and you can use that power anytime you need to. So here's to shifting your emotions and living your most powerful life.